Hello and welcome to my channel. I am the Silver Wheel Witch. Today I'm doing another flip through book review for you. The book we have today is Shamanic Alchemy, the Great Work of Inner Transformation by James Endredy. It is published by Bear and Company, and I'll give you a close-up of the back. So as many of you know, there are a lot of different forms of witchcraft, and as an eclectic witch, I pull from many different paths, and I do have shamanic style practices as well as an interest in alchemy. And so that's what really drew me to this book, was that he was using both together. And he really did a fantastic job of that. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. The other thing is, something I've started playing with recently are these translucent tabs. And I thought it would be fun, instead of just marking information in the book by random, to kind of show you what's in there, that since I just finished reading this book and I haven't gone through all my tabs yet to do my journaling and note-taking and, looking up key terms or something that caught my eye, I thought maybe you guys might be interested in seeing that as well. So I thought I would just leave it in there, the raw data, the tabs where I put them as I was reading them, and I'll just show you what I marked. Let me know if it's something that you enjoy seeing, and if I'm doing a review on a book that I have literally just read and I still have all my tabs in there, then I'd be happy to share that with you. But for that reason, I'll be leaving these tabs in. I'm not taking them out because I still want to keep my places marked in there. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to do a quick flip through the pages just so you can kind of see the aesthetic of the book for anybody who's interested in that. And then I'll show you the contents, and then we'll take a deeper look into the book. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and dive right in. So we have some praise for the works. I love that books are doing that now. And we have our title page. This book is copyright in 2019 by James Endredy. And let me go ahead and give you a close-up of the contents here. I will say the book is very nicely split between this part 1 and part 2, and I'll get into that a little bit more after I show you the contents, in case you want to freeze frame and take a closer look at that. Okay, so in his part 1 of the book, he does this fantastic job of really going through, I think one of the chapters is specifically on alchemy, and it really gives you a good breakdown of alchemy and some key terms in alchemy, that there are different types of alchemy, which is really fascinating to me because I have an interest in it, but I don't really have a deep study of it yet. So I found it actually very helpful, and plenty of things to go down a rabbit hole in and dig deeper and find some other books and research. So this first section he goes into, he does a fantastic job of just this brief overview, history, and different types of alchemy. History, terms, theory of alchemy, and he breaks it down really, really well. It's a secret art. And then, as you can see, I've been starting to play with these. So I really liked this section here where he mentioned the original alchemical assignments for the elements and what they represented. So I really marked that page because I'd like to look into that. It's my understanding, I guess, that it's changed a little over time, but that was fascinating. So I'm going to be looking a little bit more into that. And then he goes into, I think this is the section here, he starts breaking down some key terms. And so that's what I have marked here, of course, birds, because I am into augury and ornithomancy, bird divination. So I found that interesting. I really liked his comments in here about, let's see if I can find the yin and yang, the cold and the humidity, the heat and the dry, the vital energy force. So that comes from Chinese alchemy. And then you have how the dragon was used in alchemical symbols, which I want to look more into. What else do I have marked? It's got a lot. So it goes just alphabetically through a lot of terms and things in alchemy. And as you can see, it doesn't really go into a huge depth. Here's a section on magic, you know, that magic, alchemy has been used in magic. But it gives you enough to get an understanding of all these different key components and aspects and ways that alchemy is used. And then do you want to dig deeper and research some more and learn more about those areas? I feel like in the brief little sections, he's giving you plenty of information to really pique your interest and give you basically an idea of what it represents, which is what I feel like he put it in there for. He goes into the, excuse me, microcosm and macrocosm. You're starting to see that those actual terms a lot more on social media than you did in the past, but that's very heavily used in witchcraft as well. Ouroboros, the phoenix, quintessence. So these are what I've marked, things that, you know, that really piqued my interest. I like to look a little bit more into. So that is a pretty good section on just basic alchemy information. Okay, and then he goes into, it says shamanic and alchemical cosmologies, but it really, this section goes into a lot more about shamanism, and there are different types of shamanism, and he's got different theories and cosmologies in here. He breaks down these different means of, like, a mystical shaman is transcendental. You've got rational philosophy, which is rational. So he like breaks it down into the different forms, which is really interesting. And then again comes here. So here's where he's mixing in some alchemy stuff. You've got the mercury, the sulfur, and the salt, and he's breaking this down into, you've got the solids, liquids, gaseous, and radiant. So he really breaks it down and gives you a very good understanding about what he's talking about, so that you can understand the application in the analogies and stuff that he uses in the book, which I think is great. And then you've got shamanic cosmology. That whole section was fantastic. And then he goes into the praxis. So the practices, the fundamentals, this core thing that this book is about. And what he does is he really takes the steps of alchemy, the different, let's see if I can flip through to kind of show you. It goes through the praxis here, and then you have like these different phases of each chapter of, say, alchemy, right? Like it's a step in the process, and he applies it. So here's your calcination, which is fire, and he really applies it to a shamanistic approach to interpersonal work. So it's basically kind of a melding of the two, giving that inner shamanic work a little bit more of a spread out breakdown by using the alchemical process, which I just thought was, it's just fantastic. I really love the way he did that. What did I mark on this one? Oh, he had some herbs and stuff here, which I thought were interesting. Mugwort is the one that I marked on there. I always like seeing different writers' perspectives on the different herbs and such. And so then, after he goes through this whole big, long process of how to do this interpersonal work in depth with practices and exercises and things that you can do, going through these processes, then the back, probably at least third of the book, he really gets into these stories. I mean, he's still going through the processes, but I really found his personal experience stories to be very meaningful and touching. Like, you can tell that he's really been through a lot of deep, meaningful personal inner work, and it really shows in the book, right? It's like you get this just aspiring to, you know, experience the type of experiences that he has had in this work, that he has then placed in a book for everyone to be able to also, you know, cultivate that type of experience in their life. And I just thought that that was really awesome. And then in the back here, he has some information. So, introduction, alchemy and shamanism, tools for transformation. He goes through the page numbers. So this breaks down the different, some more information that was gone over in each chapter. Okay, and then we have the bibliography, which is a good place to start. If you find anything in the book that really catches your attention, then usually you can find something really good. If you're not sure, you know, what books to go to next, bibliography is a great place to do that. And he's got an index in here, which I always like, a good index, especially for something that is going to be more of a reference book. And then he's got books of related interest as well, some additional books. So I will say that this is definitely something that I read it through once the first time. I'm going to go through and do my notes and journaling, or, you know, areas of interest to look into further. But it's definitely something that I personally would like to really go through the practices in this book. But it's not something that you would take too lightly, I would say. So basically, I'll probably hold off until I'm able to really dedicate some time, you know, like maybe 1 year, you know, a year's worth of time to be able to say, I'm going to be dedicating to the practices in this book to really go through them step by step. But even if you didn't reach that same conclusion that you really want to go through it, there's so much valuable, helpful information in this book that I highly recommend it. It's great if you're interested in either or both of those, in or outside of witchcraft. Definitely check out this book. And that's what I got for you guys today. So I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know down in the comments what you think. And thank you, as always, for everyone who likes, shares, and subscribes. I really do appreciate that. And have a great day. Be blessed.